You know that feeling when you have a winning strategy, but for some reason, it's just not making you money? If that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to unpack the single most critical factor in trading success. And, spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with your charts. It's all about mastering what's going on in your own head.
So let's just kick things off with this idea, which is pretty provocative. Most traders don't fail because they're stupid. It's a powerful statement because it kind of cuts against the grain, right? We assume failure comes from a bad strategy or not knowing enough. But what if the real problem is something else entirely?
See, the real issue is way more subtle. Failure usually comes from these small, almost invisible psychological mistakes that you repeat every single day. Think of it like a tiny leak in a ship. One drop of water is nothing. But over time, that's what sinks you. It's these tiny, consistent bad habits that slowly but surely drain an account.
Okay, so let's get specific. We're going to break down the 4 most common mistakes that quietly sabotage traders. And as we go through these, be really honest with yourself and see if you recognize any of them in your own approach. Because that recognition, that's the first step to fixing them.
All right, here's number 1, and it's an absolute killer. One of the most expensive habits in trading is the need to be right. This is 100% ego. This is the moment your personal need to win an argument with the market starts costing you cold, hard cash.
So what does this actually look like? Well, it's holding on to a losing trade way past its sell-by date. At that point, you're not trading your analysis anymore. You're just trading on pure hope. Instead of taking a small, manageable loss, you start justifying it. You start praying for a reversal, and maybe you even average down, which is really just digging the hole deeper.
This second mistake, trading out of boredom. And this is a surprisingly common trap. You're sitting there, watching the charts, nothing is happening, and you just feel that itch, that compulsive need to just do something.
And yup, this is what we call boredom trading. It's forcing a trade when there's no real setup, no clear edge. It's confusing activity with actually making progress. But here's the thing you gotta remember. The market doesn't reward you for being busy. It rewards you for being patient and precise.
Now, the third mistake is really dangerous because it usually comes right after a period of success. You nail a few wins and that ego starts to inflate. Your position size starts creeping up, and those once strict rules you had, suddenly they seem, well, a little more like flexible guidelines. That winning streak makes you feel invincible, and that is exactly when your discipline is at its greatest risk. And of course, when that feeling of invincibility leads to a big loss, it sets the stage for the fourth and most destructive habit of all, revenge trading. It's that hot, emotional, knee-jerk reaction to jump right back in and win back what you just lost. But let's be crystal clear about this. That is not a strategy. It's pure emotional gambling.
All right, enough about the problems. Let's start talking about the solution. What is it that separates the pros from the amateurs? Well, it really all comes down to one thing: emotional control.
I mean, the difference in mindset is like night and day. When a trade goes wrong, the amateur justifies, hopes, and gets trapped in all that emotion. But the professional? Nope. They cut the loss, they manage the risk, and they have the discipline to just pause and step away if they need to. It's a huge shift from being reactive to being strategic.
So how do they actually do it? Well, it's not magic. It's just a set of non-negotiable daily habits. They accept small losses quickly, treating them like a normal cost of doing business before they can turn into disasters. They take their ego out of the equation by keeping their position sizes consistent. They follow their plan with almost boring repetition. And, this is crucial, they have the self-awareness to walk away the second they feel emotion creeping in.
So the bottom line is this. Their edge isn't that they're smarter or that they have some secret formula. It's emotional control. It's the discipline to execute their plan day in and day out, no matter how they feel.
And this brings us to a really interesting, kind of counterintuitive idea. The secret to success is, well, it's boring. Let's talk about why consistency beats excitement every single time. Here's a super simple gut check that can completely reframe how you see things. If your trading feels exciting, you're probably just gambling. That adrenaline rush, the thrill of a big win, the despair of a big loss, that's the emotional roller coaster of a casino, not the sign of a professional process.
Let's break that down. Exciting trading, which is really just gambling, is driven by a need for action, by those emotional highs and lows, and by hope. But boring, consistent trading? That's built on a solid process, unwavering discipline, and a whole lot of patience. It's all about execution, not excitement.
So the big question is, how do you actually make this shift? How do you start to master your own inner market? Let's lay out a really clear path forward.
Okay, your path forward has 3 simple steps. Step 1, stop looking for a new magic strategy and start looking at your habits. Get brutally honest about the mistakes we just talked about. Step 2, focus your energy not on predicting the market, but on mastering your own psychology. And step 3 is the most important part. Let the profits follow. Profit is the byproduct of a great process. It's not the goal you should be chasing. So, I'll leave you with one final question. I want you to take a hard look at your own trading and ask yourself honestly, are you building a professional process or are you just placing bets?
And just a final reminder, this is all for educational purposes and should not be taken as financial advice. Our goal is always to help you become a more informed and disciplined thinker.